Welcome into Dubs Talk Live. Warriors escaped a very close one in Utah. Almost had a similar heartbreaker that they had to the LA Clippers, but walked away 140 to 137. You can blame that fourth quarter offensive and defensive breakdown, but besides the win, another bright spot was they got to see a Splash Brother in a scoring frenzy. Monte, tonight's game literally could have went the other way and ended in the L column. What'd you make of what they put together?
I almost did go in the L column. I mean, they turned the ball over so much. I mean, when you give a team 29 points off turnovers, you're kind of inviting defeat, you know. And fortunately for them, they had enough of a lead that they didn't give it all back. It got to be a close game at the very end, but it wouldn't have even been close if Klay Thompson had not shown up the way he did.
Well, that's a perfect transition because that is our BMW Ultimate Performer of the game. Now, Klay Thompson came off the bench for the first time since March 11th, 2012. That's 12 years ago, folks. That is a long time, but he had just enough time tonight to already in the first quarter match what he had yesterday.
Yeah.
And then went on to put on a fuego performance throughout the rest of the game. 35 points, unreal performance in 18 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Klay, you know, Steve Kerr said it, you know, he wasn't thrilled, but by the time the game rolled around, Klay was ready.
Yeah.
You know, and I think he realized that, you know what, there's a lot of great players who've been six men in this league. A lot of great players. He mentioned Manu Ginobili as one. And so I think for Klay, he just had to mentally make the adjustment because this is, I think, a very good move to explore. Not saying it's permanent, and Steve's not saying it's permanent.
Sure.
But for right now, the way Klay is playing at this stage of his career, the thought of him as a sixth man is pretty tantalizing. Because he can score, he can get buckets. And tonight, you know, even at halftime on the show, he was saying that he felt fresh, and he goes out and scores 18 points in 6 minutes in the third quarter. 18 points in 6 minutes. That's crazy. That's crazy.
It's a three every minute. It's a three every minute. Well, he's actually at the podium for the rest of his period that he was on the podium. So let's hear what he had to say about the.
I just want to take it upon myself to prove to coach that I was going to respond like the champ I am. And I thought I did that well tonight. And I learned some things tonight that I'm going to carry with myself throughout the whole season.
What are some of those things you learned?
Just to play for your teammates, play for the fun of the game, play for the dubs, not the name on the back of the jersey. And that's when I'm at my best. It was when I'm winning is the only thing that concerns me.
Has that been kind of a challenging road to walk between the name on the back and the name on the front?
Yeah, because you're so used to being at a certain level, shooting a certain percentage, attending all-star games, and then it just is a little harder these days, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not the first athlete to go through it, so I realize how lucky I am to still be playing this game at 34 years old. That just helped me realize, like, I can still be really good in this league, and I can't, you know, get hung up on a few bad performances here or there rather than just being grateful to be out here and do what I love. It's really a blessing.
Your timing for the All-Star break to just
kind
of be impressed?
Absolutely. It's been a long season. We've had some really tragic instances. Obviously, Decky's passing hit us like nothing we've ever experienced before. So I know everyone in our organization is just going to need this mental break to reset.
With the way the schedule was going into the break, Coach mentioned that you guys were feeling pretty exhausted there for the game, but you were able to get it out and pull it out. What, in that context, how much does a win like this mean that you were able to get it on entire legs?
It's huge, and we have a chance to really carry this momentum after the break. We have a great 6-game stand ahead of us. We come back, and they're all winnable games, and we're going to take them one at a time. But at the end of the day, we think we still have what it takes to reach our ultimate goal, and that's, you know, obviously win a championship. But it's going to take some great, high-level, thoughtful basketball from here on out.
A couple milestones tonight, 15,000 points for you, and 500 wins for Steve. What does 15K mean to you? You know, you've been a part of all these. For Steve, what does that mean for you?
Well, Steve and I have a great history together. And although we've butt heads in the past, just like any other great player, the head coach, we have a respect for each other. And to be in that 15,000 point club, I mean, the sixth Warrior to do it is a huge honor. I mean, I'm in there with Hall of Famers, and that's just humbling for myself to be on the same list as Wilt and Steph and Molly and Rick Barry, and it's really a dream come true.
That's right. Klay became the sixth player in Warriors history to reach the 15,000 point threshold. Now, Monte, I do have a question about Klay coming off the bench, because when you think about, as an athlete, when you think about someone being relegated to the bench, it's usually from a perspective of being relegated. It's a punishment. It is a downturn for them based on poor performance. But then there's also the aspect of you're better for us when you come off the bench. And he said tonight, I had fresher legs. That insinuates, oh, that's better for us for you to have more firepower. But then there's the aspect of you responded well to being put on the bench. Means poor performance, it was a punishment. So I want to ask you, how should we look at Klay Thompson continuing to come off the bench, as Steve Kerr said he expects to do?
I thought Klay displayed a lot of maturity in his answers tonight. I thought he was really good and pointed about it. But I think this is not a punishment. I think this is Steve Kerr saying, okay, you know what? Let's try this. And at this stage of Klay's career, he's 34. He's been through 2 devastating injuries, came back, and he can still play at a high level in this league. But I think this is Steve trying to put him in the best position for him and for the team. A lot of good teams have great sixth men. And you look back in recent years, and whether you're looking at a guy like Lou Williams or a guy like Jamal Crawford, I mean, these guys, they were started at one point too.
Right.
And they reach a point where as sixth men, they become specialists. And they don't have to worry about all the other aspects. Your job is to come into the game and make something happen on offense. And I think that seems to fit what Klay does. I mean, defensively, he's not what he used to be.
Sure.
Six men don't usually worry about defense unless you're Andre Iguodala. That's a different thing. But most six men, they're looked at and say, okay, come in the game now and get some buckets for us. And that's what guys like Jamal did. That's what guys like Lou did. And so even going way back to the old Pistons, Vinnie Johnson, the microwave, those guys. So, and I think for Klay, where he is now, I think he can get comfortable there. I'm not saying that's permanent, but I'm saying that if I'm Steve Kerr, I'm thinking, let's give it a shot, because you don't worry about you play defense, but your role is come in and get us some buckets. And Klay, if you just tell him to do that, I think he can do okay.
He did say that being in that second lineup does make him more of the focal point in that rotation, and that obviously opens up some more shots for him. Let's shift over to not his splash brother, technically, but another brother of his that since he's been looking for his shot, things have just been opening up, and that is Draymond Green. So looking at tonight's, absolutely unreal. In 29 minutes, 23 points, a season high for Draymond Green. Monte, when Draymond looks for his shot, how do the Warriors change on offense and even on defense when he's looking for his opportunities?
Yeah, teams play Draymond to let him shoot. Go ahead and shoot, get your buckets. But when he makes a couple threes, guys got to start thinking now, do I want to go out there? Do I want to sit him and watch him? He's shooting better than 40% from three.
42% from three, yeah.
So defenders got to figure out whether they want to go out and guard him or not. And if you go out and guard him, that opens up things elsewhere. If you don't go out and guard him, you're giving him an open three.
Yeah.
So if you're the Warriors, either way, you win. You win. If Draymond's going to make threes at 40%, let him do it. Let him do it. And so he made the threes, but he also got to the bucket a couple times tonight. And we've seen the last few games where he gets in the paint and he misses a couple of bunnies here and there. But tonight, they were mostly good. He missed one, that I can remember at least. But tonight, he was highly productive. And, when Draymond can give you 23 points, on a night when Steph, was only giving you 16, that's huge.
Right.
So you still got your 65, 70 points from Steph, Klay, Draymond, which is what you want to see on a given night. And usually it's Klay getting 25 and Steph getting 35 and Draymond getting 10.
Exactly.
It's a little different role.
Today was a little bit of a different
Yes.
combination. But also, last time that Draymond Green was shooting at, not even this clip, he's never been at 42%, but 2015, 2016, 38.8% from three. Made 100 threes that season. That was pretty impressive.
And they were pretty good that year, too.
And they were pretty good that year.
They won a lot of games that year.
A lot of games, 73-1. Yeah. Okay, so now let's talk about that actual splash brother you're talking about, Stephen Curry, but particularly what he's been doing that opens up everything else for the Warriors. Assists. Stephen Curry had 10 assists tonight, and that was just 10 of the 42. That's not a rebounding number, guys. That is an assist number. Look at the last 5 games for the Warriors. Unbelievable numbers here in terms of being able to distribute the ball. They're 4th in the NBA right now, only behind the Pacers, the Raptors, and the Spurs, interestingly enough. But 2nd in points per game. So turning these assists into legitimate buckets. With the Warriors' ability to be able to distribute the ball, obviously their offense is not an issue, but their turnovers just makes this number not as impactful as it could be. How can they make that assist-to-turnover ratio better and more impactful for them?
Well, I mean, it's just judgment, mostly decision-making, you know. They try a lot of risky passes. And when you try risky passes, you know, I get you make the explosive play, the spectacular play, but you know, the old saying there with the coaching staff and some of the veteran guys is just hit singles. Don't go for the home run, you know. And sometimes that makes perfect sense. So the Warriors got to get into 42 assists. That tells me the ball is moving, which is what you want to see. That's Warriors basketball. When they were at their best, they were always getting 30-plus assists a night on an average. And the turnovers would hurt them a little bit here and there, but they were so good then that the turnovers didn't kill them. Now they're not as good as they were then, so turnovers can lead to a defeat, and they almost did tonight. So, and they have in some earlier games this season. So you have to watch the turnover level. You can still move the ball, but be smarter with it.
Well, luckily for them, the Utah Jazz had some key turnovers at the end of the game that allowed them to pull out the victory. Okay, that's enough on tonight. Let's go ahead and start talking about what's coming up in the All-Star break, because the Warriors are going to be involved up in Indy.
Yes, they are.
So very exciting. We'll do a little weekend preview on the way back to Dubs Talk Live, presented by Mancini Sleep World. Don't go anywhere, folks.
Dubs Talk Live is presented by Mancini Sleep World. Visit us during our President's Day sale. Save up to $1,000 on the biggest brands, plus free delivery. Hurry in now or visit us online at sleepworld.com.
What's up, YouTube fam? Hello, everybody. All right, let's see. D said, I was nervous thinking they were going to blow it again. Trust me, I was in that green room like, what
you know why? Because they've seen it before. Multiple times. Last night.
Right. Rebel to Sounds, thank John Collins for throwing the ball into the 5th row. It's a real thing. Pafita, I am happy for Klay as well. And I am too. I'm really, like he said, this game kind of validates that he's capable of playing in this league. Again, I think you make a great point to not look at this as a punishment. But what's going to be interesting is, let's say he has Lou Williams type games, right? Where he comes off the bench. Or oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name at the Kings.
Malik Monk.
Malik Monk, right?
Monk,
He has Malik Monk type games. What's going to happen if he has 6 of those straight? Does he go back into the starting lineup, or does he clearly do better?
I think it depends on how the team is doing.
Okay.
If he comes off the bench and he lights it up and the team is winning, I don't think you change that. I think you stay with that. Now, if he comes off the bench, he lights it up, and the team is up and down, then you try something else. But if the team is winning, I think you roll with that. Again, I just think that when you look at traditional 6 men who are scorers, Klay can fill that role. And like he said, he's still going to play a ton of minutes. You know, it's not about, punishment. Okay, you're going to sit on the bench, you're going to play 15 minutes a night. With a 6 man, if he's having an off night, maybe he will play 15. But if you got it going, he might play 35. So it depends.
That's a good point.
It depends on how productive you are and how efficient you are.
Okay. Cool. Back on air, guys. Welcome back to Dubs Talk Live, presented by Mancini Sleep World. there won't be a lot of sleeping going on if you're up in Indy for All-Star break.
no.
But of course, looking up at this schedule, there's a big break. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Warriors don't play again until next Thursday against the Lakers, but they will have a busy calendar, at least 2 of them.
Yes,
Steph Curry.
Yep.
Playing in his 10th All-Star game. And then, of course, Brandon Podziemski making his appearance in the Rising Star game. And I think that let's talk about that second one first. Brandon Podziemski in the Rising Star game. Of course, not being chosen for Rookie of the Month this past month. A little bit of a snub, a little bit. But being chosen for this Rising Star game, it makes sense for the impact that he's had on this Warriors team. What would you say has been the most important factor of Podziemski's game for these Warriors?
You know what? It's hard to single out anyone because he does a little bit of everything. He can get buckets. To me, the most incredible thing that he does is he gets so many rebounds.
He does.
I mean, he gets tonight. He had, what did he have tonight?
6.
He had 6.
And he had 3 offensive. Yeah.
So for a guy of his stature to consistently get 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 rebounds, it's like, really? But at the same time, he can have 10 assist nights. Tonight he had 8 assists. So he can get a few buckets. Tonight he had 13 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds. For a rookie, that's outstanding, you know. Previous night against the Clippers, he was spectacular. 5 of 5 from 3, 23 points. So to me, he is playing at a level beyond what you could have expected him to do when they drafted him.
Yeah.
I thought when they drafted him, he's going to play some time he's going to shuttle between the Warriors, San Francisco Warriors, and the G League Warriors.
Right.
Back and forth. I thought it's, okay, let's see how he'll have to earn his way into the roster. He's earned his way into the rotation and into starting some games. And the vets do not resent him at all because they see what he's bringing.
Yeah.
And so he goes out there and he makes things happen. And most of those things are good things. And so vets look at that and go, yeah, he can ride with us.
It's important that if you're going to be as confident in some of the moves or decisions that you make on the court, that you back it up.
Yeah.
And you've got to be someone that they can depend on.
Yes.
And that's what Podziemski has definitely become, and that makes sense for his Rising Star selection. I'm excited. I feel like he's going to make a show of it because he is he's very much a showman.
Yes, he is.
But there is going to be another big show at All-Star, and that is big time shot the shootout. Okay? And this is going to be between Steph and Sabrina. Of course, you guys had a chance to talk to Steph and Sabrina and ask them some questions. So let's hear what they had to say about the upcoming competition.
Well, I was about 10 and watched him from up in the stands and just knew, obviously how much he inspired me from a really young age and kind of just who I wanted to model my game after as a basketball player, but as a person, and knowing everything, that I was able to see on TV and was able to watch firsthand, understanding how he presented himself and the person that he was really his true and authentic self to how he is in person. And so, being able to live down the street, I was blessed to be able to go to games when I was really young, and then building a relationship through college and now professionally. I couldn't have asked for a better idol and mentor and someone that, I can look up to and want to emulate my game after and who I am as a person and just staying true to myself. And, so I've been very blessed in getting to grow up with, he used to be my background screensaver. I used to have wallpapers in everything you could think of up in my room. And so this is a really pinch me moment for me, and knowing that what we're able to do this next weekend is every kid's dream.
I knew, obviously, hometown Bay Area native, and like the rumors around of there's this phenom that's right in our backyard that's kind of creating this wave around her every time she sets foot on the floor. I actually met her dad and listened to him talk about his daughter and how special a player she was, and when it's Monday morning quarterback because she is who she is. It's like you see somebody that has that look and that determination and that that reverence for the game. You can't really. It was just extremely authentic, and then you follow her career from there, and it's like every step that she took was in the mission of becoming the best basketball player that she could be. And I always told her and mentioned like just how you handle yourself and how you carry yourself with that spotlight. It's not hard. It's not easy. And true ambassador for the game, like somebody that you would want your daughters, your sons to look up to, and understand how she's carried herself every single step of the way, and how motivated she is, and even now, that influence, you see it from the jump. So it's nice to have that Bay Area connection, obviously, and know she was a true Warrior diehard from jump. But see where the journey has gone to this is pretty impressive.
So, Monte, I understand you prompted these responses. What did you ask them?
Well, I wanted to find out. I mean, I knew some of the history of them. I know their relationship goes way back, but I wanted them to explain what they saw in each other initially. What did you see in her? What did you see in Steph? And made you just gravitate toward him. And I thought their answers were on point because, Steph is, her favorite idols were Steph and Kobe Bryant.
Wow.
Those are the two guys she looked up to. And those are the two guys that, you talk about, whether it's screensavers and everything else, those are her two guys. And so she got to meet Steph because he played in her backyard. She's a local girl. And so they've had a relationship that goes back now 10, 11 years or whatever it is. So I think the idea, and they were the ones who started this whole thing because Steph, had the NBA record for three-point shootouts, scored 31 out of 40. And Sabrina hit 37 out of 40, which is a whole record. And I remember talking to Steph about this a few months back and about that shootout. And he said, she's better than me. I go, but you're supposed to be the best. He goes, she got the record?
Right, exactly.
So,
the facts are the facts.
Exactly.
And she had 20 in a row in that 37.
Yes, that's crazy.
Unreal.
I mean,
she's also very smart about the way she does it. She actually practices which balls to pick up at the right time. So she's going to be very technical in this three-point shootout. I'm very excited for the NBA and the WNBA to come together, get some respect on both parties, and everyone's going to be bought in. But before all of that, there's also going to be an All-Star game that Steph's going to play in.
Yes.
He's been surreal in his All-Star games, averaging over 22 points, just under 6 assists, just under 6 rebounds per game. And he had that 2022 50-point performance.
That's crazy for an All-Star game.
Crazy for an All-Star game. I mean, yes, people let you do what you want to do.
Yes.
But what is this going to mean for him to come into another 10th All-Star, for him to show up, especially with the way that he's performing now at 35 years old?
It's different for him because he's not a starter. He's usually been a starter, but this year he was not voted in as a starter. And, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a starter, and so is Luka Doncic. Those are your two guards. And they earned it, and Steph said they earned it. They should be there. So Steph's coming off the bench, which for him is unfamiliar, but he's still going to play the same game. He's going to have fun. He's going to get buckets, and nobody's going to play defense because they never do in these games.
The thing about it is that Steph and LeBron are always a show. They understand that the All-Star game is about entertainment.
Exactly.
So it's not just one-on-ones, it's the fun bounces, it's the cool dunks, it's the cool assists. So it is absolutely going to be a lot more fun with him playing in it. I can't wait for him to get off of the bench.
I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also looking for that shootout.
Oh, yeah. The shootout, I think, is going to be the talk of the weekend.
Yeah, man. If Sabrina wins that thing, can you imagine what will happen?
Both of them can stand up to the stage. They're willing to be able to step up to it and be able to shoot well. So I know it's going to be great. All right. On the other side of this break, we got to talk about what's going to happen after the break. Because the Warriors had some close ones in the last 2 games. Don't go anywhere. It's Dubs Talk. Why did my tweet just go out, guys? My final tweet. Okay. Question for you.
For me? Uh-oh. Here we go. On the spot. What you got?
I want to know. I was talking about this with Chris Mullin. Do we, and this is in the media, give more of a break to Andrew Wiggins when he's not playing up to the caliber of his potential than we do Klay Thompson?
I think maybe because Klay has had a career that's Hall of Fame caliber career, and Andrew's been a good player. He's only been to one All-Star game. Klay's been to 5. So the standards are higher for Klay than they are for Andrew. Andrew can play. When Andrew plays, when he played was the second best player on the Warriors team in the 2022 finals, that was like, wow.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if Klay was second best player, it'd been like, there's Klay, there's Klay. You know, so it's a different standard. They're both really good players, but Klay set a standard that, I mean, he can't play it anymore on a regular basis. Whereas Andrew is still 28 years old. And I think at this stage of his career, he's in his prime, and sometimes you see it, and sometimes you're like, what's he doing? You know? So.
He definitely, it's a great point, especially about the age. I think people forget that he is much younger as well. Catherine Gibson makes me that more excited for WNBA to come to Chase Center. Agreed. This is interesting, and I think it's kind of true. Otis Bird said that, you know, it really did, it kind of became too much of a LeBron show as far as like the, Pafita said, I hope it's competitive. Otis said it's become too much of the LeBron show. And yeah, I mean, it has. Monte. All right, welcome back to Dubs Talk Live. It's time to look ahead. The Warriors clearly ended this break on the win right before the All-Star break, but they have some things they need to clean up.
Absolutely.
Rebounded in that last quarter, 21-7, allowed 12 offensive rebounds. Of course, the game came down to rebounds as well for the Clippers, and then turnovers, allowing in the fourth quarter 8 turnovers to 19 points for the Utah Jazz. There were elements of their game that they definitely need to clean up. So, Monte, coming back from this break, what is the most important thing at the top of the Warriors list to check off of making sure that they're ready for this closing out of the season?
They got to play top 5 defense. That's the first thing. That's how they got that winning streak going that ended Wednesday night. But if they play top 5 defense, I think the other stuff will kind of fall into line. They'll get smarter on offense. They'll get better shots on offense. And they'll get in transition. They'll play fast, which is what they want to do. And they really play. You notice when Podziemski's out there, they really play fast anyway because he only knows one speed. He's go, go, go.
He's pace all the way.
There you go. So those are the things. I mean, they fix those things. They have a good chance to make a run. They need to get to the mid-40s in terms of wins to get a decent spot in the postseason.
Okay. Well, I just realized I'm Zena. That's Monte. Appreciate you guys. Good night, guys. It's Dubs Talk Live.
See you next week.
So funny. I didn't even introduce us.
That's all right.
You know, they know.
Our name's out there too, so
That's true. That's true. Okay, folks.
What we got?
You know what it was? I was just so worried about Dubs Talk Live. I don't know. Anywho, here we go.
Don't trip.
Shea is a hell of a player, but I agree he still has time to shine. Asia Ross said later, though.
Whoa.
Hey, I get it. I understand. I get it. You know, if you want your stars to shine, I get it. Because this is the time that they're starting to pass the torch.
Yeah, it is. You're going to see some of the older guys and some of the, you know, KD will be there, Steph, LeBron, those guys will be there. But you also see some of the new guys coming in, which is the way it should be.
Yeah. William Herr, a much-needed break for sure. We have 2 empty spots left on the roster. Hopefully we can add good veterans.
I don't think you're going to fill both of those spots, just one of them.
Most likely just one. Yeah. And I know you had your piece on the site talking about that.
I still think they need to, you know, this is one of the seasons, and they thought about it too. This is the season where I think they could use a big man.
I mean, tonight's game was definitively around needing
when you
length
look around
inside.
the league, look around the West especially, I mean, Minnesota's got 2 7-footers, Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert, okay? Clippers have Zubac, okay? You look at Phoenix has Nurkic. You look at Oklahoma City, you see Chet Holmgren, he's a 7-footer. I mean, you've got around this league a bunch of teams that have, and Joker is probably the main guy. And so, again, Draymond plays pretty well against Joker, and nobody's going to stop him. But there are just games when you could use 3 or 4 or 5 good minutes from a big man, just to grab some rebounds and just clog up the middle a little bit.
Yep.
And don't let the other team get so many offensive boards.
Salvador has an interesting point. Steph going to recruit at All-Star for postseason? May find a big man out
Well,
there?
I mean, you can't trade now, but all you can hope for is something on the buyout market, which usually doesn't give you a whole lot of good stuff. And the Warriors are somewhat handicapped because they can only sign someone who makes a small amount of money,
Right.
relatively speaking.
Right.
So
You got to go find a bargain.
yes, you do,
Yeah.
which they've done before. But I think that's the move they'll make. They have until the 22nd of this month to do it, which means basically that, sometime next week.
Okay.
So
Okay. Last question here. It's a real one. YY Dirt. I'm not sure how to say that, but any thoughts on Kerr playing Saric over TJD? Saric is a liability on defense.
I'm not going to argue that.
He
Here's
has
the thing. Saric is unique in that he's a big man who can shoot.
He spaces the floor.
Yeah, and spacing is important to their offensive scheme. But I do think there's nights, I think Saric's in the same place where there's nights when he's going to have it and nights when he's not going to have it.
Yeah.
And if Saric isn't scoring, he's not helping you a whole lot. He's a good passer.
Yep.
Good passer. He's a good offensive player. But defensively, he's not stopping anybody at all. He gets targeted. He gets targeted.
Yeah, and they know that.
And tonight you saw
assists again,
you
yeah,
saw
for-
tonight where there's been a couple last previous games where you saw Dario come in as the 5.
Yep.
And next thing you know, there's layups and layups and layups. Tonight they said, okay, we're going to put Dario back at the 4 and we're going to go with Trace. They put them again together. Now that makes more sense to me.
I agree.
That makes more sense. So it doesn't have to be either or, but if it's going to be either or, I think you got to go by how Dario is playing on a given night.
Yeah.
If he's playing well, okay, and the team is thriving with him, ride it.
Right.
But if he's not, then don't hesitate to put Trace out there because Trace usually gives you something pretty good.
Okay. All right. Well,
That's my 2 cents.
I actually I
Yours?
really agree with you. I think
Yeah.
Trace, exactly as you said, Trace does really well with Saric.
Yeah.
I think Saric definitely plays more like a power forward as opposed to a traditional center.
Absolutely.
Especially with what they need their centers to do, which is protect the paint and get boards. Again, as a power forward, gets assists. I mean, he's had multiple 6 assist type games.
Yes.
He had 2 tonight in 10 minutes that he played, but as I mentioned, he is a liability in the paint, defensively.
Yeah, he's not going to stop anybody, and guys just go to the bucket.
Yeah. What they've got to do, I think, is find, and I got to look at more film, but Dario does well in spacing the floor when he's not involved in actions, staying far out because he's ready for a corner 3. Trace has to do that too.
Yeah, but he's not going to shoot the 3.
Correct, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But he can creep in on the baseline,
Exactly.
right? In the back,
Yeah.
in the back line of the defense,
Yep.
he can creep in but
dunker
he has
spot.
to
Yeah.
exactly in the
Yeah.
dunker spot, exactly.
Yeah.
So we'll see if we'll see what happens if he gets some more burn.
Yeah, I mean, tonight, they played them together, and it made sense. I just think that's another good way to explore.
A good way to explore and a good way to use that youth. Okay. All right, folks, we're gonna head on out. Enjoy your break, and I saw someone's birthday.
Happy
was
birthday.
happening. I saw a birthday, but
Have a great
happy
one.
birthday on the 19th, y'all. Deuces. Bye.